And going back to your, I guess, original kind of inspiration, it sounds like the topic of today, science
Mm.
with a combination of social
Yeah,
impact in a way.
Mm.
Very cool. And just for my quick introduction, like I said, you can call me Robert. I've been here on this service for 2 years, and I study computer science at Harvard University. What else? And I like to be an ESL tutor. Like I tutored in the past for citizenship tutoring. I have family members from another country as well. So this is kind of like a fun job. Very cool. What question one? What contributions have AI and machine learning made recently for social impact?
First, there is in this article of McKinsey, it says that it can reduce kind of crisis response, such as COVID epidemic, because it's worldwide epidemic, not pandemic. I mean pandemic.
Pandemic, sure.
Yeah, that kind of virus again. It allows us to respond really quickly, and there's also economic empowerment. It means that kind of it helps us kind of manufacture or just do things really fast and really quickly, at both a lot at the same time. Like and more accurately, there's a automatic farm. Like there's a farm that robots does everything, like give water, analyze everything, whether the plants are kind of healthy or not, whether they should be given water. Also, it can improve our educational kind of programs, because robots, I think they kind of like manufacturing a lot, because and quickly and accurately. Because of that, I think it both gives impact on education, because it kind of spreads all over the world. There are lots of and there's also lots of information that they give themselves and others, because like SNS, we can share things using AI. And lastly, we can deal with environmental problems like wildfire very easily. I mean, if there's a wildfire and if you can't go through the fire, like firemen couldn't go there because it was too thick, then drones will fly and then they would spray water or any kind of substance that will put off fire. Yeah, those four things, I think.
Definitely. And I guess a follow-up question on the educational aspect. How did the robot or AI system help learning? Do you remember the way it was supposed to help?
By doing deep learning, it can kind of not memorize, but remember kind of information really permanently, and then this kind of information can spread worldwide, and then even poor people, like people who can't get any education, those kind of people will also get education easily. So every people in the world gets smart.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, a lot more affordable. And even though it's not exactly memorizing, I think that was a fine word choice, because it almost is like the deep network can memorize so much more than a human, right? It has so much more memory.
Yeah.
So very good. And you can almost think of the educational system like a YouTube recommender, like it recommends your weakness.
Yeah.
So if a student has a weak area, it recommends like maybe you should study this next or something. Very cool. Out of the four areas you mentioned, which one's your favorite? Like, what's your favorite application of machine learning from the article?
I think I like deep learning about the educational thing, because there are lots of reasons, including it can do deep learning and memorize almost permanently, unless it is broken or kind of shut down. And also it can develop itself by learning, not just deep learning, like memorizing permanently, but also developing itself. So I think that's the advantage of AI, which I like.
Right. So quick question. Can you see the Google document? Let me I'll show you what I mean. Are you able to access this page on your screen?
Yeah, you can see now.
Do you have it on your screen, or should I share it? Like, do you have it on your machine right now?
I can see your screen.
Okay. But you don't have it on your computer, right? You don't have this screen on yours?
I think there is.
For today, I'll share my screen just to go through it quickly. But in the future, like lessons, you want to have that screen like in your background, and then that way it's faster for your tutor to do this process, like share feedback. For example, when you said it can develop itself, you can say like the system is very adaptable. The next line is like when you say deal with environmental problems, you can also say combat environmental, like kind of like fight, but in a more formal way. And educational programs can also be progress if you wanted to use that option. There is an automatic form, would be better maybe as like automated form.
Yeah, because it's like.
And the last two is just some grammar. This means that instead of it means that, and he was helping others by making it. Maybe his engineering projects had positive social impact as like a formal version. So then like you'll have that process like once or twice in the lesson of like some corrections, but without like kind of spending more time than we need to on that one. What do you think of question 2? I think you mentioned it already. What do you think are the technologies that carry out the evolution in AI? Question 2.
There's also kind of lots of things. First, there's, according to that article, there's image classification and object detection. It means that by classifying and detecting objects, it can kind of, in other words, I think it's called IoT. Like it can, by classifying other objects, it can communicate with other robots by using that kind of detections and classifications, IoT. And then and also I think because it can classify and detect objects, maybe it can do kind of home cleaning, like cooking things and doing the dishes, things like that, because they can see the objects. And second, they can speak every language very fluently, because like before they can do deep learning, so they can learn every kind of words in the world very quickly just by maybe downloading the language. And as they talk, and I mean not talk, but as they use the language, they can develop itself, because it can self-develop. It's kind of strong AI. And third, like before there's deep learning, structured deep learning. It means that it can learn stuff, and also not just learning stuff, but also using them at the right time. Like if you're talking with a Korean, if I'm talking to you, then I will have to speak in English, and if I'm talking to my brother or something, then someone, or maybe I'll have to talk in Korean, things like that. They have to use the right information when they are supposed to.
Right.
And lastly, they can use advanced analytics. I don't really understand about that. Can you explain to me?
Advanced analytics, it's almost a fancy way of describing what you already said. Like you talked about how one of the new technologies is image classification and object detection, right? And even to do the language stuff, they have to go through so much data. They have to go through so many images, millions of articles of writing. So that's what data analysis is. It's like going through tons of data and then making a decision. Like predicting, let's use like stock market, for example. If the stock price goes up or down, predicting the change in the stock price is all based on historical data. So simply analysis is kind of like analyzing the historical data and then trying to find the trend to predict the next step. Does that make sense?
Yep.
In a way? Cool. We are a couple minutes over. If you want to spend 1 more minute, since we started late, just answering which of the social impact or social issues will be solved by AI the most quickly. Question 3, if you want to spend 1 more minute.
Okay, let's do that.
What do you think for question 3?
Because the situation is like there's COVID-19 pandemic, maybe we'll have to deal with that. Maybe we'll have to combat that. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah, combat that.
combat that. And yeah, because we have to do it quickly. I mean, if you don't, it kind of spreads really quickly, so you have to be very quick and accurate, so it could help a lot. And also there could be fewer crimes because every AI is watching. However, there are kind of some privacy problems due to that, so maybe there should be some other developments. And lastly, it creates fewer problems with the poor. Just like I said, there's fewer not learning of education. Like people does not need to starve forever. They don't need to starve forever. They can kind of educate. They can be educated, and they can do not whatever they want, but yeah, they can do what they want in the social world, because it's,
like freedom, right? More freedom, you mean?
Yeah, those kind of
Definitely.
things can be some effects.
Good, awesome. I think that was a great point of AI will kind of improve the quality of human life, make humans healthier, help with education and the economy. But maybe the mystery is like privacy. How do we respect privacy for humans? And that will be an issue for many years. Yeah. Your responses were very good. I think the feedback was just some vocabulary suggestions. For the most part, your grammar is very strong, except like one article. And my only feedback is for the next lesson, try to have your document ready so that it's just, it goes more quickly, but that's, everything else was very, very positive and very good. Awesome. Have a good day.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Nice to meet you.